Hello ladies and gentlemen, MarauderEX here with another rant. It has been either far too long or not long enough. I'm not entirely sure where this works. Today's rant is brought to you by the fine folks over at Nintendo Life and the Sonic fan community, as well as the letter H, because let's just go all Sesame Street on this, because why not? Alright, so to give an idea of where this rant starts, a while back, Nintendo Life posted a video that has since been taken down. I mean, I full disclosure, about how they played the Sonic Forces demo and did not like it. Now, I'm not going to be talking about the video. I'm not going to be talking about the fact that they took it down. That's the video itself had, like, people were sitting here saying it's contradictions. They said they like this game, but then they don't like the Sonic Forces because it's like this game. It's weird. What I am going to talk about is some of the user comments that just, it hurt my brain. And that was people saying, don't judge the game based off the demo. Wait for the full game to come out. Alright, I kind of understand the sentiment behind it a little bit. If you're reviewing a game, you do not review a game based off of a demo. You review the demo based off of the demo, but in the review you will state, you know, this is the demo, some things could change, but this is the state of the demo. And the thing about the demo is it's designed to be a representation of what the final game is supposed to be, correct? I mean, that's, I could be misinterpreting this, but as far as I've been playing games, as long as I've been playing games, that is how I've interpreted how demos are supposed to work. It is supposed to be a demonstration of the game in its entirety, but at a fraction. So if you take Sonic, for example, it's the first level of Sonic 1, or one that I've, you know, been following. You've got other demo types, but we'll get into that in a second. Things like Indivisible or Bloodstained. So, looking at it this way, part of it is, I think, the phrase demo has kind of been so mangled over the years, because now we've got things like alpha and beta releases, prototype releases, which is what we can go into with, you know, Bloodstained, Indivisible, Mighty No. 9. Those are alphas, betas. They're not demos. Because they're not based off of the final version of the game. They are early representative builds. And those are to show you what they're either working on or what, you know, what stage they're at the moment, so things could be incomplete. But for me, being someone who grew up in the early days of gaming and therefore demos, was like demo discs that came with like the official PlayStation magazine, things like that, that gave you part of a game that would very soon be retail available, so that you can get an idea of whether or not you would want to play that game. Demos that exist now are basically the same thing. But again, the word has gotten really, really mangled. And I think that's the biggest part of the problem, is when people say demo, it could mean so many things now. But it boggles my mind that you cannot, or that people say you cannot base a game off of the demo. You can't judge it, you can't, it's almost like they're saying you can't form an opinion based off of it, especially if it's a negative opinion, at least in the case of Sonic Forces. But again, part of that is it's the Sonic fan community. They are rabidly passionate about Sonic, and you're either a modern Sonic fan or a classic Sonic fan, and therefore anything you say is just kind of an us versus them thing. And it really did boggle my mind. If someone had a negative opinion about a demo, and they said, and then they're just eviscerated because it's the demo. You can't judge the game off the demo. But that's the point. If the demo, which, reading the definition of the word demo, as a noun, demonstration of a product or technique. As a verb, demonstrate the capabilities of, parentheses, software or equipment. Now, that's the point, right? You're supposed to get an idea of what the game is like based off of the demo. Now, if you get a demo, and the demo is, say, an action RPG. You like the demo. And then the final game comes out, and it is a first-person shooter. That's not a demo. That was something else. But if you get the demo, and the demo is mostly representative of the final product, some changes in maybe UI, graphical settings, little changes here or there. That's the point of the game, right? To show you what the game is capable of doing, what the game is going to be like in its final stage. Now, if you say you pick up, going back to Sonic, there are several demos of Sonic available that are different in so many ways. You can go and here on YouTube look up the early demo builds of Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. Sonic 2, fun story, was actually shown on a show called Nick Arcade. That was one of the first times the Sonic 2, original demo build was shown to the public. And Sonic 1 was also shown there. And there are differences between the games. So going back to Sonic 1, there are sections where you have the little ramp where you can run up and over. And in those sections, there's a ball that will roll kind of Indiana Jones style after you. It's the same ball that's at the end of Robotnik's level 1 machine that, swings back and forth. Those, Indiana Jones boulder balls are not in the final version. But the ramps are. The level design mostly is the same. It's there. The physics of the game, pretty much the same. Like, Sonic's not slower, he doesn't jump shorter, he doesn't jump higher, he doesn't have more hang time in the air. It's not a drastic difference. There are some level design changes, but the demo is still fairly representative of the game. You have to roll and jump into enemies, you have to collect rings. When you get hit, you lose ring. The base mechanics are still there. And that's the point, right? Isn't it? I mean, I feel like I've just taken crazy pills about this, because people are like, oh, well, so much can change from the beta. Well, it's like, if so much changes, well, demo, see, even I do it. Even I do it. If so much changes from the demo to the final game, then it's not a demo. If so much changes, then either the game was not in a state of completion to where the demo is representative of the final product, or the demo did so badly, showed that there were so many problems that people did not like, that they had to go back and change things drastically. And those are two slightly different situations. If the game is not anywhere near finished, then again, it's not representative of a final product, which I can't say it's a demo. I don't feel that it is a demo. If the game is finished or close to, and the development team takes the feedback from that and say, oh, well, people didn't like this demo, they didn't like this physics mechanic, they didn't like this this gameplay mechanic, then we need to drastically change those. Then they're taking feedback from the community to make the product better based off of what they were originally going to show. And they realized what they were originally going to show was not what people wanted. Now, it's a very weird situation. It's a very weird dichotomy there. But it just boggles my mind that people are like, you can't base a game off of a demo. You can't form an opinion. And it's just mind-numbing to me. It really is. Because if I play a demo and I like the game, it's going to make me want to buy the full version of the game. I've done that for so many games. Games on the PS3, PS4, mostly off the PlayStation Network, really. If they have an available demo, I'll try the demo, see if I enjoy the game. Strider, the Strider remake that came out a couple of years ago, Rocket Knight Adventures, or the new remake of Rocket Knight. Just two examples that I've been able to pull out of games that I picked up the demo and played. I enjoyed, and therefore I picked the final version. Games that have early betas or, prototype versions, Indivisible. There is a prototype version of Indivisible on PlayStation Network right now. Download that, and I downloaded it, I played it, I think I even did a video about it that showed what the gameplay is like, and how it's, has, fairly similar aspects of things like Valkyrie Profile. That was what sold me on it. It's like, okay, this style of game, I like it. And I backed it. It was an Indiegogo project. Backed it, and I'm following the development. And during the development, they've been saying some things are changing, because this is an early prototype build. This is just a proof of concept. They never said this is a demo, this is going to be representative of final, and even most demos say this is not representative of the final product, because there could be some changes. But they've said, okay, we're changing the UI, so it's going to be a little bit easier to read. It's going to be a little bit easier to manage, the UI. Nowhere throughout the development cycle have they said, oh yeah, we're completely changing the combat mechanics. It's going from a Valkyrie Profile style combat to we're going to go like Final Fantasy 1. We're just going to have just an invisible ATB gauge, and everyone's going to have turns based off of it. No, they're not doing something that drastic. So the demo is meant to show, okay, this is what we want to do. Whether or not it ends in that is one thing, but it's still designed to show you what the game is like, to say, okay, is this a style of game that you like, or is it a style of game that you don't like? That's the point, right? I keep asking you, the viewers, this, because I feel like every time I see this argument, it's like, why can I not base an opinion off of this demo? Why do I have to wait for the full game to come out to say, well, as a whole, I hate this game because I hate the mechanics that I could have determined in the demo, because the demo has the same mechanics? Why do I have to wait for the full game for that? If there is a demo out and it has mechanics that I don't like, how am I supposed to justify buying the full game to verify my initial opinion? Now, I mean, I guess you can sit here and say you're not supposed to review a game based off the demo, which I've already said, or you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover in that sort of sense, but you have so many people on YouTube here, rising journalists, rising YouTube commentators and personalities that do first looks, first impressions. How is the demo supposed to be any different than a first impression? If I play the full game, Sonic 1, give my first impression of that, how would that really be any different than the demo of Sonic 1 that was available? Yeah, there are some level differences, some things that are in the demo that aren't in the final game, and in the final game that aren't in the demo, but, do I like the mechanics? Do I like the speed as a side-scroller? Do I like the fact that, there's no spin dash in this one, and I have to, actually roll into enemies? Or what if I don't like the ring mechanic? I don't like losing all of the rings. It's a clutter. It's not something I enjoy. Whereas, like, with Mario, it's how you take a hit, you lose a power-up, and you keep going. You don't have this, like, explosion of things on screen. Or, say, another demo that I used back in the day, Sonic Adventure 2. I thoroughly enjoyed Sonic Adventure 1. It was one of the first games I got on a Dreamcast. I got Sonic Adventure 1, I got Soul Calibur. Got those when the Dreamcast released, and I was sad. And I remember later on when Sonic Adventure 2 was getting ready to come out, I believe it was Phantasy Star Online. It had a demo of Sonic Adventure 2. I look over at my shelf. One of the mini games that I had picked up at the time had a demo for Sonic Adventure 2. And I played it. I'm like, this is so different than Sonic Adventure 1. Sonic's jump physics seem really wonky. Sonic's, like, the movement feels really weird. It's very different. It feels very different than Sonic Adventure 1. And as a result, I never picked up Sonic Adventure 2. During that span. It wasn't until much, much later that I ended up getting it, just to round out the Dreamcast library. But it's one of those games I picked up, and I really had no intention of really playing, because it doesn't play like a game that I was interested in playing, especially since I was such a huge fan of Sonic Adventure 1. The level layouts, the speed aspect, you were going linear in Sonic Adventure 1. Everything was a very linear path, especially on the speed aspects, but it felt more 3D. In Sonic Adventure 2, everything felt tunnel, and it was the start of the current modern Sonic games, which, again, games that I never really got into, and I'm probably going to ostracize most of the Sonic fan base by saying I'm not much of a fan of modern Sonic. Because I don't like the just running down a tunnel. That wasn't entertaining to me. And it's, really no different than Sonic 1, but a different perspective. Sonic 1, you're running across a platform. Just, the platforms have different layers. Modern Sonic, you're running down a tunnel, but you have different, options of how to traverse that tunnel. So it's really 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But I didn't like it. So I based my opinion off that, and I've gone back and played a little bit of Sonic 2, or Sonic Adventure 2, and that opinion still stands. That feeling is still there from the demo to the final game, and I assume there are differences. I don't even remember the demo. I don't think I still have the demo disc. I'd have to actually go through and look, and I don't know how much difference there is between the final version and the demo, but I remember how I felt playing the demo. Was not really all that impressed with it. Play the full game, still not really impressed with it. It's just me, though. It's like I didn't like the mechanics, I didn't like the feel of the game. It just didn't mesh well with me. Now, other times that, demo completely sold me. Like Skies of Arcadia, another game that had a demo. I played the hell out of that demo. It's just leading up to the first dungeon. That's all it is. Just the first dungeon of the game. I played that over and over again because I liked the mechanics. And, what they took from the demo, they restructured for the game. It's like they didn't, it's not the exact same sequence, but it's similar sequence, just kind of altered a bit to fit the flow of the final game a little bit better, because you've got story before, story during, and story after that they didn't want to include in the demo that would have convoluted the demo and given away a lot of the base of the story. They still wanted the story to be a little surprised. But the mechanics were there. You had the ship combat, you knew what ship-to-ship combat was going to be like, and that mechanic transferred completely. That was exactly how it was. Then you had the standard JRPG style combat, which was still, from the demo, exact same to the final version. You had the spirit gauge, you had MP that only went down by 1 each time you used a spell, so like MP wasn't really a factor. It was the spirit gauge was your actual resource for how you could do magic or special attacks in combat. All of the mechanics, all of the things that sold me on the game were still there. The story aspects and how the demo was constructed versus the final game, those were altered. But playing the full game, I could still see, oh, this was part of the demo, and then a few minutes later, this was part of the demo, so that they could show what the style was. So it's like, you can base an opinion off the demo. You also have to go into it realizing that, yes, things can change, but if things change too much, then was it still a demo, or was the development team taking feedback from that demo to be like, well, this is what we were going to do, and people apparently didn't like that, so changed it. It just boggles my mind to hear people say to not form an opinion on the game based off the demo. Wait for the full game. When the demo is supposed to do just that. It is supposed to give you an idea on, will you like the game or won't you like the game? That's the point. And it boggles my mind. And again, there's some weird situations where it's not 100% of the time always base your final opinion off the demo. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can. I'm saying in a lot of cases you should. Because that's the point of the demo. But then we also have, again, the problem of demo nowadays tends to encompass so many terms that are not accurate. Either, alpha, beta, prototype, etc. that are going to show that this is very different. And, another example, I've following the Mighty Number 9 Kickstarter, and the alpha and beta, early release versions of that went to the backers were vastly different than the final game. There were graphical things removed. I don't think there were mechanics moved. I think it was just either graphics and that sort of thing, graphics and sound that were kind of altered, but that things that were changed between the early release versions and the final. But I would love to talk to someone who actually backed Mighty Number 9 and say, okay, did you get the demo or the early release sections? How similar were they to the final game in terms of basing your opinion on, is this representative of what the final game was like? Was it something that, now that you got the early release version, are you more excited for the game? Are you less excited for the game? Because, was it what you were expecting for the demo and then for the final version? So it's like, if you got the demo version, the early release, as a backer, it's like, how similar was it to the final game to you? Because that's one of the things that I'm actually keeping tabs on games like Bloodstained and Indivisible, because I've backed those games. I'm curious to see. I have the demo of Bloodstained. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And as long as the game is somewhat the same representative, I will be happy with it. Now, I can understand if there's going to be graphical changes, either positive or negative, but like if they slow the character down, or they speed the character up too much, or they change some of the physics in the game to where I don't even know how you could change a Metroidvania that much, or an Igavania, Igavania. But say like the final game comes out and it's drastically different, then I would be disappointed. But I also know that the version that's out is not a demo, because the game is not finished. The game is not near finished. So this is where we're at the moment, rather than this is what we want to sell you on the game. And I think there's a very interesting split between those two things. And part of it's probably developers, part of it's probably game journalists that are kind of lumping all of these things together. But I really feel like there's a type of demo that is designed to entice people to buy the game. This is what we want you to buy. This is what the game is supposed to be like in the end, and this is what we're showing off some of the best parts that we can show you without ruining too much, to make you want to buy the game, as opposed to, this is where we're at in the development of the game, and it could get better, it could get a little worse, we might have to change some things, but this is where we're at, and we want to show you where we're at and maybe get feedback. And those are two vastly different situations. But I think even in both of those situations, the goal is to get the player's opinion, get the player's impressions of the game. Because if it's something they want to buy, then they can use that as information. Okay, this is what they like. Send surveys or whatever. I don't care. But I like it because of this, or I like it because of that. This mechanic, that art style, this gameplay style. Or I don't like this, so I'm probably not going to buy it. Or if, again, you're far enough in development or early enough in development, it's like, I don't like this. Could you possibly change this? Could it work slightly differently to make it a little more intuitive or user-friendly or something like that? I think that, again, two different situations, but both really require the player's feedback, the player's opinion on that product. So it really just does boggle my mind to hear people say, don't base an opinion off the demo, just wait for the... No. Base an opinion off the demo, but also keep an open mind that it could change. But don't expect that it will, because you don't like it. It could... But base an opinion, but try to keep an open mind. That's really the long and short of what I can say, is play the demo to get an idea of would it be something that you would enjoy. If it is, keep an open mind, but then remain cautiously optimistic that it could change for the worse, like Mighty Number 9. Or that it could change for the better. So, again, demos, they're designed to give you an idea of the game. They're not, you know, again, not representative of the final product, but they are representative of what the final product is trying to be. Or what they want the final product to be. So, yes, please, make an opinion off the demo. Please, stop saying stupid things like, don't form... Just, yes, you can form an opinion. Just keep an open mind and realize that, you know, development can change things. So, let me know your thoughts on all this, because I've been ranting about this for an excessive amount of time. How do you feel demos are supposed to function? Are you one of the people that feel that you cannot base an opinion off the demo? And if so, why? Why is that a bad... Like, I would love to try to understand this mindset, because I really can't. I guess it's just my age and my experience with demos of how demos are supposed to work. But if you're one of those people that's like, don't base your opinion off the demo, I would love to hear a reason. Like, if you have an example, that would go a long way. It's like, what example of a demo that you played was drastically different than the final representation, to where if you had made that call, either yes or no, that you would have been in a much different situation, whether or not you would have enjoyed the game or not. Because I can see it happening very rarely, but again, I also go into it with as much of an open mind as I can of, okay, I liked the demo, I'm probably going to get the game, or I didn't like the demo, I'm probably going to skip the final game. I might check it out again later after it releases, but I don't know. I guess I'm a weird one. But again, let me know your thoughts. What are your thoughts on demos? And, you know, this isn't even going into the whole demos killing sales. That's a completely different argument that the extra credits people did. And, you know, there's so many things there that I could talk about for positive and negative as well. But, like, do you feel that a demo should be, you know, as closely representative to the final product as possible to entice people to buy the game? Or do you think that demos should stay in the alpha beta range of, like, this is where we're at, we want feedback? I'm very curious to hear everyone's thoughts on this, because it's, like I said, it's a very confusing topic, but when people boil it down to just the base, don't form opinion on this, it makes my brain turn off. And it's very hard for me to get past that point of that brain turn off when everyone's like, just don't do this, because I'm not even giving a reason. But yeah, I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts. So I'm going to go. Thank you for tuning into this wonderful long-winded rant. You know, if you liked it, like, comment, favorite, subscribe, all of that jazz. It really does help out so much more than you could ever possibly know. And for those of you who want to help the channel out directly, I do have the Patreon, which a link to that will be in the video description, for all of the various perks that, you know, I can offer for a channel like this. Because really all it does is help me create more content like this. So, yeah, I will see you in whatever rant I happen to do in the future. We'll see how long it takes for that to happen. So till then, later everyone.